Alright, so I've got some stone here, some heat treated stone from Mississippi, and I'm going to be spalling it. It's been heated to 550 degrees for 24 hours. Let's see, 550 degrees for 24 hours. Now it's again, like I said, it was from Mississippi, and this is Mississippi gravel, or my friend Randy's calling this citronelle gravel, but the citronelle that I've seen is a little more solid in color. This has some mottled and various colorations to it. It's not solid coloring, but it's fine. I've got all sorts of different nodules of it I'm going to be spalling on here on this video. It's got some cracks. Some really nice material. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my river cane, back to my series on hafting. The last one was a river cane hafting. I'm going to get back to that series after a few of these videos, a few other videos I'm going to make. I wanted to get this spalling video out of the way. I also want to get into some other videos about culture, material culture, and why things were made the way they were. There's a couple definitions of culture. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines it as the beliefs, customs, arts, etc. of a particular society, group, place, or time. A particular society has its own beliefs and ways of life, etc. Okay, that's one definition of culture. Wikipedia defines it as the social behavior and norms found in human societies. Culture is a central concept in anthropology, encompassing a range of phenomena that are transmitted through social learning in human societies. Okay. Now the reason why Flint Knappers are interested in culture is because when you read texts, you'll see that a lot of these points and arrowheads are described as material culture. Right? So if you see something made a certain way, archaeologists will say that's a product of a certain material culture or is part of a material culture. But as you can see from the definitions that I read, there were two very different definitions of culture. One is the actual end results or manifestations of the intellectual activity or the things produced, and another definition, the one by Wikipedia, is the behaviors of society. Two different things entirely. Okay, so the reason why I touched on that is because I'm taking long breaks between videos researching culture and looking at different cultures, and I'm finding that a lot of these artifacts are influenced by culture, obviously, but cultures are also identified by these point types sometimes. Like if a point type looks a certain way, they name a culture after that point type. All right, so it's important to study these things. What I'm noticing is that a lot of these artifacts are downstream of culture. You have the culture and then you have the artifact. It's not the other way around. You don't build your culture around an artifact in real life. You may build it around an artifact in archaeology, but in real life, the culture exists first and then it produces a certain type of point. Okay. And there's a concept in anthropology called the operational chain of an artifact, or chaîne opératoire in French, and that means you need to understand the culture before you can properly understand the artifact. You can't separate the two in that philosophy, in that way of thinking. The operational chain means that you have to understand them both together, the culture and the artifact, that you can't separate them. All right. Now it's hard to explain exactly how you match a culture to an artifact, but it takes a lot of demonstration of you have to demonstrate the age of the artifacts, the proximity to other artifacts. They get into use-where studies, how these things were used, and those characteristics are built up into a culture. Okay, and then from there, you also introduce experimental archaeology and current knowledge of how these tools are used to try to build a more rounded out or complete culture. Okay. So I'm going to be getting into that kind of an aspect of video making, about the reasons behind all these different point styles and so forth. Okay, and that'll come in the future. In the meantime, I'm going to be doing kind of a chaotic way of doing this, where I'm going to be mixing it up. I just got this shipment in not a while ago, and I want to spall these. I mean, not too long ago. And I want to spall these before it gets too late. All right. Let's see now. I also bought some black plastic. This is the same as the white plastic, the ultra high molecular weight plastic. It's the same stuff, but it's black. It's a little bit cheaper actually than the white. I don't think this is food grade, so it's a little bit cheaper. Okay. I really banged up my other mallet on the aluminum rod. This one here especially, so I'm not going to use the antler. I'm going to use a plastic. No, I haven't used it yet. It's brand new, so hopefully it'll work. All right. Anyway, let's get down to spalling. And I think that light is pretty bad. Let's see. Glare from that lighting is pretty bad, so let me see what I can do. All right. Now, I haven't been napping in a while, so forgive me if this doesn't go totally smoothly. All right. Let's see. Actually, this is really nice. I'm going to start on a one that's not so nice. Okay, this one here. It's kind of a solid color. Kind of a lumpy thing. All right. A lot of seams in it. This one might not yield too many useful pieces. That's fine. This is still pretty hard. I can still make points out of it, but it's going to be, it's not glassy or smooth, and it's a little bit hard and rough, so it's going to be a little difficult to work some of this material. I chipped some other ones earlier, and this varies. Some of it's easier to work than others. Okay. This is a piece of sandstone, kind of a mid-grade, and I'm already beating it up pretty good, so I might switch to something else. I might switch back over to aluminum if this gets messed up. I picked this up, it felt pretty good, so I don't want to ruin it. Okay. I picked this up recently. It's kind of a solid piece on the inside, but on the outside maybe not so much. That's an old bulb of percussion there. Let's see. Not too bad. There's a seam there, it looks like, but it might be healed over. It might be healed enough to make a point with that going through the middle or something. very colorful. And normally what I like to do is go around the whole thing. I've already got a cut. Okay, so that's split right at the seam there. I may be able to make points out of these pieces. I'm going to move on from this piece. Let's go back to the other half. I'm just going to find a spot that looks fairly good, that I can knock off a big portion without cracking in half. I want to try to get as large a surface area as I can on the finished product. I guess I could try to knock off this bump here by hitting there. You also want to try to preserve the solid material. But this is hard to tell which is solid and which is not. This looks pretty good here. Might be a seam there. I should be able to make a point out of that. This is kind of broken up here. Let's see. Yeah, let's see what happened there. Yeah, there was already a seam in that. And I use the word seam a lot. It's just an existing crack. A crack that's already existing in the stone is what we call seams in flint knapping. You know, one easy way to think about this is to knock off the bad spots, but it's hard to see. They all look kind of bad from the outside on this one. Let's see. It doesn't mean all these, I got a bunch of stones. It doesn't mean all these stones are bad. It just, some of these are going to be obviously cracked by the way it looks. So I'm going to switch over to this. See how this, I can get more accuracy with this. See how this works. It's kind of tough, but I can make small points out of that. I mean, the material is kind of tough. I think I said that already. Not as tough as the stuff from Kansas. This is better than the stuff from Kansas. This is going to be easier to knap than, let's say, rhyolite or the Kansas stone. This is almost like raw Burlington, the way it's knapping right now. Even though it is heat-treated gravel, it's feeling a lot like Burlington. That was a nice, of course. It's kind of narrow, so when I get to this one, I won't be able to make a very wide point. I tried to get a big piece off of that, but it broke at the end. And there's some quartz inclusions in this. I don't know if you can see there's some crystals right in there. I probably won't be able to use that. It's too thick. Too bulky, but I might be able to use this one. Yeah, I can make something out of that. It looks pretty clear. There's a bunch of junk in there. Let's see. That was a good piece. I kind of hit that too soon. I hit the surface and I cracked it. It could have been a little bit longer, but I could still make a point, small point out of that. What I'm trying to do is run some long flakes, but it's kind of risky. I should stop using it as a core for long flakes and just make a biface out of this. I want to try to knock this piece off there so I can. Well, it looks like that crack is weak. I wanted to knock off this corner to get rid of that weak area, but it seems kind of strong. Some solid material there. Now with a natural fire you can get 550 degrees pretty easily with a fire, the way they used to do it back in the day. With a turkey roasters, it's hard to get 550. I think Randy used a kiln for this. I don't know how this will react to lower temperatures, like 450. I'm assuming this also gets better if you go higher. It feels like it would probably do better at 600 degrees. But you never know, it might just break up. Yeah, so this is pretty good. I'm going to stop here on this one and go on to the next. It's from that same rock from earlier. Yeah, I just knock off pieces I know are going to be weak, or areas I know they're already cracked. I can probably make a point out of that. Alright, so I'm going to a different stone. I knocked some of this off earlier. I don't know if I want to spall this because it feels good as an axe. And I was hitting some wood with it earlier. I just chipped off some of this edge here. And I was hitting some wood. It works pretty good. It's got a lot of weight behind it, and it's nice and smooth. So I'm gonna keep this and experiment with it as a chopper for wood, for small pieces of wood. All right. Let's see here. Interesting colors. It's a gray and a reddish or purplish. I can make something out of that. Again, it's kind of hard on the outside, but the inside is really glossy. This might be pretty good stuff in here. Right in the middle. That looks really glassy in the middle. Whoa, that's some nice material there. That reminds me of Horse Creek or something. Really nice. So yeah, this is really pretty. This is going to be difficult to get some consistent pieces. As you can see, there's already some internal issues. There's a seam right here. I don't know if you can see the difference in color. The seam right there. But the rest of this seems pretty solid. I don't think I can get any more good spalls off of it, so I'll just leave it like this and make a point out of that. This one here is coming along okay. It does have issues in the center. I might be able to preserve this, and hopefully this extends in further. I'm going to hit that and see if I can run a flake here. So when I do that, I try to skim off the outside. You can kind of see how that works. To get to the inside, this is really, really nice on this one. This is the back side of that nice area. Looks pretty good. I might be able to make a point out of this one too. And some of you guys know what this stuff is. This does not look like citronelle gravel to me, but it might be. It looks a lot like Horse Creek or something similar. But you guys can probably tell what it is. Some of you guys are very good at identifying the stones. I really haven't spent all that much time identifying different types of stone. I just hit it and see if it's good to nap, and then if it is, I'll just nap it. I probably should become more of an expert on these types of stones. Alright. This piece is kind of rough. I might be able to make a point out of that one. Or I can definitely make a point out of this. Just need to work around some of these, or eliminate some of these cracked areas. That's what I was trying to do there. When I hit here, I was hoping that it would actually open up. See where that corner is there? I was hoping it would open up there and go across, but it seems pretty strong there. What that would do is if it opened up there, it would have removed more of this mass at the bottom and left me with some this good stuff here. Anyway, now pieces are just falling off different areas. I'll do a video and I'll make some points out of some of these. I'll do some videos with this material. I don't think I've worked this particular type. I've worked some Horse Creek, but I don't know if it was from Mississippi. I don't know where Horse Creek comes from, actually. But that's what this reminds me of. Okay. I can make a point out of this, so I'll save this. I don't need to reduce that down anymore. I hit this one earlier. It looked pretty good, so knocked off some good pieces. I don't know where they are, but similar to this. And I was doing a little bit of spalling on one of the other ones before. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up here, so I'm just going to go to town on some of these. Nice. So I just hit it there. I like doing this type of spalling where I just break it in half. Okay. I don't know if you could see what I did. I'm not paying attention to the angles very well. I apologize for that. Okay, so I just hit it right there. I'm already used to doing this kind of napping where I just kind of split it or crack it in half. I can definitely make a point out of this. There's some crystals, quartzite crystals there that it might get in the way. Those are not easy to nap through. They tend to be an obstacle to napping. If you have them in the middle of the point, it's not so bad, but on the edges, or the base isn't too bad, but if they're on the edges, it's hard to get the edge sharp. Okay. Let's see if I can get one more spall off of this small one. Yeah. Nice. I can make something out of that for sure. I don't know. You can't see these colors, but there's purples and pinks in there. I mean, I can't see the viewfinder, but you might be able to see it. Nice. And I'll just leave it at that. I can biface this and I get some more, small spalls off of it, but I'm gonna move on. Get some more of these pieces. I'm gonna get some of these really bad looking ones. Yeah, this is kind of bad looking. See what this turns out to be. See that crack in there? It might go all the way through. Let's see. Actually, it's not too bad. This one I can make a point at for sure. So some of you guys are keeping track of how many pieces I said I can make a point out of that. I can make a point out of this. I would say maybe 8 pieces are good down there so far, at least. But I'm not keeping count. Nice. But this is not as smooth or as glossy as this piece. This is going to be harder to nap. It's more grainy. It's not as slick or glass-like as this one. This one's going to be nice. But this one looks better than I thought it would look. Let's see if I can make a biface out of it. Not exactly where I wanted. It's not too bad. This one's kind of thick to make a point out of, but I can, if I get desperate, I can do it. All right. Let's see. Yeah. And these are good for hunting size arrowheads. Let's see if I can show you where and how I hit these. Sometimes I can go around the outsides, and sometimes I just hit opportunistically where there's a lump and try to knock the lump off. Like that was kind of lumpy at the bottom, and it gave me an opportunity to knock off a flake that I can make an arrowhead out of. This one may be too small for a modern hunting point. Modern hunting points need to be about 1 inch wide, but definitely I can make an authentic looking bird point out of that, like a Cahokia style or Scalorn or whatever. Now the point styles that existed in Mississippi, that this type of stone was used for, probably oops, that one knocked that too much off. Probably Cahokia points and Scalorn points for true arrowheads, and maybe some Catahoula points, maybe some Perdiz. As far as that lateral dart points, I forget what's in that area. Anyway, this one here, I wish I wouldn't have broken that off, but I can make small points out of this. All right. Let's see. Do I have any yucky looking ones? Here's one that doesn't look all that great. We'll see. Might look real nice in the middle. Okay. Actually, it's kind of interesting in the middle. If I can make a point out of some of this, that'd be cool. It's kind of broken up. Nice colors though. Purplish. Got some pre-existing cracks or seams in it. Yeah, this one probably can't use much of it. It feels good though. It looks really glossy. If I can just get a consistent piece. But my friend says he gets, you know, a ton of this stuff, so it doesn't really matter if only a few pieces are usable when you have a lot to begin with. If you have a good supply. It's kind of stubborn there. It's very hard to start a flake off a very rounded area. Alright. So I hit 30 minutes. I'm going to be cut off here anyway. So there you go. I'm gonna do another video and try to spall the other ones. Okay.